a lot of agents will have the scarcity mentality of, oh, I only have these resources, so I can't afford, I need to do it myself. But you can't do it yourself because there isn't enough time.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
And you create that ripple effect because now they're doing that at home. They're doing it with everybody that they touch. They're in a better place. Now their whole life isn't a mess over here. So they come in and everything just encourages a better situation, which is awesome. So I love that. Cool. I love the first few times when you do it and then they come to you, okay, I have 3 things, but this is I'm going to do this. And you're like,
yeah, and then it's like turn back around.
You just see them like realize, oh wait, I can do this, right? So
and then you
awesome.
Celebrate it. Like you got somebody that solves something big, boom, celebrate it. It's like celebrating the behavior, like it's all part of the culture and dynamic.
Yeah. I think that, and maybe it's the younger folks, the coddling and all the trophies and everything, they're afraid to make a mistake because maybe they haven't made any mistakes per se, right? And so now it's okay. It's okay to make the wrong choice and make a mistake if you learn from it, right?
Absolutely.
We're not doing brain surgery over here, or nobody's going to die on the table with a bad decision. So we just have to encourage them to do it, fail, learn, and move on. So I love that. There's so many things in there, Dave.
I think the last piece is giving them an opportunity to be in your seat, right?
Yeah.
So it's, a lot of times I'll see people, I don't want to lose this person. I don't want to keep them forever. I want to hide the agency owner opportunity or whatever that may be from them.
Yeah.
But I found the exact opposite. That's what allowed us to retain our people for years is that promise and commitment. You do all the right things. We're going to develop you to owning your own agency. Yep. And then we had a, contingency plan there where when we went to sell that, we had our people lined up and it was a life-changing event for them. But that's the reason that they stuck with us the entire time because we worked with them. We helped them become leaders. We did weekly leadership meetings, helping their leadership skills, taught them all the base fundamentals that they would need to know operating a business. So when they went in there on day one, it wasn't I'm getting hit by a fire hose and I'm drowning. It was like, all right, I got my footing already and I know what to do and I can navigate this. And that resulted in them not just buying the agency, but, doing relatively well in comparison to everybody else in their market. And
I love it.
I'd say just have that out there. And that's what we tell people when we recruit too, is, when you're putting it out there, a great way to make you different from Amazon, Google, all these flashy, attractive companies. Oh, wow, I'm working for Google. Well, you can't go to Google and maybe work there 3 to 4 years and then get your name on the door. Oh, right. By the way, if you just came in and got your name on the door, bought that, had the revenue of the book, paid on the loan, and you didn't even grow it a dime, you kept it the same, which is not the goal of doing this, but let's say that's what happened. All of a sudden, 10 years later, you have $1 million asset and you're a millionaire. What other employment opportunity are you going to walk into in America where you're going to get that? That's why you got to come work with me. And, that's the difference there. And then it's following through with that commitment. It's not just saying it and then, hey, we never talk about it again. But you're like literally every month, let's check in. Let's get you closer to those goals. And that's what shifted the dynamic too, because we stopped managing the number and we started managing the goal. Because we knew, hey, your personal goals are this. I want to buy a house for my child. For my family. I want to get them this education. And my professional goals is getting my name on the door. Now, if they're not doing the dials, they're not putting in the work, they're not closing the deals, it's not you didn't hit your dials today or you didn't hit your talk time. It's you made a commitment to me. You made a commitment to your family. You told me what your goals are, and it's my job as a leader to hold you accountable to that. If I wasn't holding you accountable to that, I'd be failing you as a leader, and I'm not going to allow you to just mail it in today. I get you're having a bad day, but should your kids have to pay the price because you're having a bad day today? You don't want to make a couple dials and you don't want to close a deal because by you not closing the deal today, potentially tomorrow or the next day, it's a slippery slope. You don't get the paycheck that you need that's going to pay for the new mortgage of that new house that you want. And you don't build up the consistency that you need to have within you because you can't have bad days in business. Bad days just need to be on every single day. You need to be on for your team. And you need to get conditioned to that. That's the only way you're going to get your name on the door. And when you have that type of conversation, it's hard to say no to that. It's hard to, no, because now you put it in a different frame, which is the truth. And when they look at the number as not just a number anymore, but they see the number as their kid and they see it's that brand new door and they start to visualize the door to that house that's bigger, that's more dynamic, that's more conducive for their family. And they start to visualize they're sitting in your seat. And that's the reason to do it. They're doing it with why. They're doing it with purpose. And we made sure every single person was following their passion, following their why, following their purpose. Because when you got people that are like working, not just to work, but they're doing it because their soul's on fire, like you start to build some pretty magical things. And that's what we've always tried to do in any one of our organizations, is just bring that fire out of people.
So great. Now, another thing here with hiring and recruiting. So let's get to the elephant in the room here with that. I think that it's probably the number one challenge for agents. I did a post recently Right. I put a post in the Insurance Dudes group and just said, what's your biggest challenge in your agency? Hiring. So some leads for you there. But what's remarkable is then if you follow up with, well, what are you doing? And it's like, I scheduled 3 interviews and nobody showed up. And I think that there has to be some understanding about, you have a sales funnel and hopefully understand those numbers. But there's also a hiring funnel from, you need the contacts, you need the resumes, then the interviews scheduled, then the in-person, and that whole thing. Otherwise, you aren't going to get that person at the end. And I don't know if my numbers are right, but what we've seen is something like 60, 30, down to 10, and then you end up hiring 1. So it takes a lot in the front, which is, of course, why I've outsourced your company, because there just isn't time. Somebody said earlier on Facebook today, that sounds like a full-time job. When I said, this is the pipeline, this is how many people, this is what you need. And he said, that's a full-time job. I said, exactly. That's why I use Team Hired, because I can't do that, right? My time is more valuable than the few $1,000s that it costs to maintain a constant flow of candidates like that. I don't want to think about that.
And I tell people all the time too, I mean, if you really analyze it, for most people, it doesn't even really cost money, because that $2,000 to $3,000, if you're to put a dollar value on your time based off what you're making annually a year, the number of hours that you're investing in it, the lost opportunity cost of not focusing on growing your business and focusing on that, the ad cost, the Indeed ad cost, wherever you're putting job ads up, and then the labor to dial out to those people, get them scheduled, reviewing the resumes, bring them in for second interviews. There's a lot of moving parts and components to that. And when you really add it up at the end of the day, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months out of doing that, the expense adds up pretty exponentially. It's not that immediate hit.
Right.
So I tell people, anybody that's just like anything else, like, find a great marketing company when you're trying to market. Like, don't wear too many hats. Find out what you're really, really good at. Focus on those core fundamentals in your business and just outsource the rest. You can have predictability and consistency.
Right. A lot of agents will have the scarcity mentality of, I only have these resources, so I can't afford, I need to do it myself. But you can't do it yourself because there isn't enough time. And so you have to spend to get that. And then there's also that tail, right? 4 weeks for sale, whatever, maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks to find a candidate. So they don't see the instant return. They turn off the flow of the cash to that strategy too early. We see it over and over and over again. And it's hard. I mean, I get it. There can be thin margins at times, but you have to put it in to get it back out. What do you see as the biggest mistakes that agents make in the hiring process?
Well, I mean, that's where we really took a different approach to this, where we don't come in as a third-party vendor. We try to come in, we pride ourselves in. We can typically get the job done in a third of the time, a third of the cost, but we don't want to be a third-party vendor, but more of an extension of their brand.
Yeah.
And how we do that is we come in and we'll first and foremost shore up the hiring process, because that's one of the most common things. Even though we're in one of the most challenging and most difficult job markets we've ever seen, one of the biggest hurdles we see out there is maybe the foundation not being where it should be. And that's where we developed our 3 C's. So we start off the process by coaching and consulting the person that we work with, our client that we work with, to really get a good understanding. And we go through the 3 C's that we came up with. The first C is compensation. We've done dozens and dozens and dozens of exit interviews with candidates. Why didn't you take the job? Why didn't you show up? Why did you ghost? Why did you not fill out an assessment? And literally 98% of the time, it came down to the 3 C's. Compensation being one of them. Make sure you're competitive in the marketplace. Great people don't cost money. I'll say that again. Great people don't cost money, because great people produce, and when they produce, they're making you money.
Yep.
But you have to pay great people great. And you have to make the right investment for the right person. And at the very, very least, be competitive for your job market. Like, you can't come in with a $30,000 base or a $24,000 base and say, hey, sink or swim. Like, you're just not going to pick up the talent that you want to.
Right.
And sometimes there's interesting ways that you could do. Is like, hey, I got this person. They're making X, Y, Z. I don't know how I can afford them. Well, maybe what you do in the first 60, give them a very, very lucrative incentive plan. And maybe in the first 60 to 90 days, match their base pay at their past employer. So you're giving them that ramp up time, and it curates that fear and anxiety. I can't afford to possibly not make anything and not pay my mortgage, but I know I'm getting a predictable income until I become skilled at this job. And to make it very abundantly clear that, a lot of places you go, you can do very, very well in this industry. Again, paint that picture of the long-term career path.
Right.
What I'm willing to do is something most people aren't willing to do for you. I'm not only going to invest in you and your license because I believe in you, but, you come aboard, you get licensed, I'm going to guarantee you your pay for the next 60 to 90 days. And that's somebody, if you got somebody really dynamic, really skilled, and you're in that place, you can't afford it without guaranteed results. That's a great way to do it, mitigate your risk. But you got to, whatever you do, you got to make sure your compensation plan is competitive. And then 2, you got to make sure that your compensation plan is simple. So I'll see too many times, it's maybe like 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages long. And imagine like somebody from outside of the industry coming in and getting a 5-page comp plan that has all these different nuances that makes sense to us in our brains, because we know the insurance industry, like you got to do this is a qualifier, this is something you got to do daily. But they bring it home to their spouse when they're like just getting like a 1-sentence blurb from Google that says you're making X amount a year and then you make this kind of bonus. But then they bring like a dictionary home to their spouse. This is how I get paid. I'm going to make a lot of money. Well, you're probably not going to garnish the confidence that you need from the candidate, but you're certainly not going to accomplish the garnishment you need, confidence that you need from the spouse when they come home and try to articulate it.
Right.
So I say keep it simple, keep it 1-pager. And, I highly recommend, again, having compensation plans that are highly incentivized off performance where they can make a lot of money if you're making a lot of money, but map that out. If you come in and just hit my bare minimum expectation, you're like a bare minimum kind of guy or a bare minimum kind of girl, this is what you're going to make on a monthly and annual basis. If you come in and you're average, so you come in and you just operate at average in terms of what we interpret average in our organization, this is what you can make monthly, this is what you can make annually. If you come in and light the world on fire, this is what not top people are doing in my agency, think outside your box. This is what top people are doing in my state to show you what is possible. You got to work hard for it. You're going to have to grind for it, but you can make 6 figures plus if you do that. You tell me, though, are you a minimum expectation kind of person? Because I know that's not the reason I'm hiring you today. Are you average, or are you going to light the world on fire when you come to work for me? And then basically whatever your answer is to that question is going to be your compensation plan going forward. Simple, good, better, best. Have it laid out one. All the other stuff, I get it. You want to articulate to that, put it in your employee manual and have them sign it and cover it on day one after you sign the deal. Don't confuse it, complicate it. It's kind of like, you're sitting down with somebody, they agree to go out with you and date you, and then like you come out with this contract, like they're probably not going to go to the next day. Like keep it simple in the beginning, build a relationship, leave that for later. The next piece is, I talked about this prior, is culture. And what I tell people to do, before you even bring a candidate into your office, go look into your office tomorrow with a different lens. Literally walk in the day unbeknownst, like they're not expecting you at a random time during the day. Walk through, what do you see? How is the lighting? How is the cleanliness? How does it smell? How is the atmosphere? How is the energy? What is the attitude of the employees? Does it feel stressful, the environment? Does it feel like chaos, or is it exciting? Is it fun to work there? What is your optics and perception? Because when you bring a candidate in there, they're seeing all those things you're not paying attention to. Are the desks clean, or are they piled up with junk? Because now when they're making a decision, they're likely going to be spending more time in your organization than they are with their own family members. So if they see something they don't like, and again, you're competing against Google and a lot of these other flashy, attractive companies in glass boxes, look sexy, wear hoodies to work. You're competing against culture. Like, what does your culture look like? Make it so freaking dynamic that it becomes magnetic, where when they see it, they beg, they crave, they thirst to be a part of it, and just make your culture so profound. But when you do that too, I guarantee you it's going to change your life, because you'll also be coming into that same culture. Work doesn't become as stressful as much anymore. Start having a whole lot of fun when you're in your ideal scene and environment, but just create that before you expect to bring like that rock star into your organization. Last piece is long-term career path. So we'll go through that. Are you showing it what it is? One of the best career opportunities in America, where they come in, mentor 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road, depending on where you're at now and where you need to be. If you put it all to work, you can get your name on the door. And let me show you that high level overview economics of what that looks like. Like, not many places you can walk into. I guarantee you there's nobody on Indeed, nobody on ZipRecruiter, there's nobody on LinkedIn. I don't care how big the company was, Fortune 500 company. None of them laid out a path for you to become a 7-figure millionaire. And it's not like this Fugazi, it's like a smoke screen that it's only the few can do. Literally, if you come in, you do like an average job, you maintain your book, you pay off your loan in 10 years, like, you have a 7-figure asset.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like, what would that do for your family? You know, what would it do for the flexibility? And now you paint this picture on the vision. It's like, I have to say yes to that now. This is what I want to come into. And it's like having the right package for the right candidate when they come along. So that, I say, instrumentally is everything, having that there first and foremost, having the foundation in place to attract the right people. And then when you do it, it's, so like you said, it's the way we come in and do it, it's a numbers game, and we take everything off the plate. So we'll do that type of consultation. We'll put up all the job ads. We manage the job ads. We manage the flow of candidates. And the way we vet the candidates is totally different than normal, because normally you go through resumes. You probably do a little bit of over-analysis, paralysis, looking for the perfect resume. And the perfect person for you is not always the perfect resume, keep in mind. But because you got your eyes on it and you're looking for this perfect resume, this unicorn, you go through, you buy 100 resumes, you find one of them, they don't answer the phone, and you're like, it doesn't work. 3 of them, and it doesn't work. Not everybody's a perfect resume, so we'll take them. We'll weed out the very bottom that we know is not going to be a fit, but the rest, we'll have our team calling on your behalf, scheduling them in the Zoom rooms, virtual rooms like this. So all you got to do is show up, and there might be 10, 15 people on that group interview call. We have a dedicated account manager that, again, that's an extension of your brand, understands what you're looking for. You can be as involved or as uninvolved in the process as possible. Most of our clients, what they like to do is let us just do what we do and sit back and get to pay attention to the candidates. So we'll have our person come in, ask the creative interview questions that invoke creative responses. Because the person that's witty, that thinks on their feet, that can problem solve a question that they've never heard before, guess what they're going to do inside your organization? They're going to be witty. They're going to think on their feet. They're going to problem solve. They're going to overcome objections. But the person that can't, that stumbles, fumbles, that doesn't do it, they're probably going to stumble and fumble, and you're going to probably have to teach them the same thing over and over again until you want to beat your head against the wall. And they're really, at the end of the day, it's not their fault, not yours. They're just not the right fit for your culture. They're not the right fit for your organization.
Right.
So we take care of that for you and then determine what are the top 2 to 3 people out of that group interview session, get them scheduled on your calendar for a one-on-one interview. I know a lot of people do assessments. We recommend having that assessment process so it's just one last thing to chase. When you meet them for that one-on-one interview, have a professional workstation set up, have them take the assessment right then and there. You like them, boom, assess them, get the rest of your data on them, make the decision. And what we're seeing is you got to act fast in this market. Like, there's no longer, wait 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, wait 2 weeks. Like, there's no longer this long wait, because there's fewer and far between great quality candidates that are out in the marketplace today. There's more employers than ever that are looking for those same people that will start them tomorrow, that will pay them a signing bonus, that will act fast. It's the same thing as like an internet lead coming in. If you don't call it right away, you don't engage it right away, and you don't keep the engagement going, somebody else is going to close the deal. It's the same thing here. I always used to be, this is the opposite of the way I used to think was, hire very slow, fire fast. Well, now it's hire fast, fire fast. Like, right. You can't afford you can't afford the missed opportunity, because otherwise in this market, you're in this perpetual cycle of losing these great candidates. Just bring them in there, vet them, not vet them, but vet them to the point you feel comfortable. Bring them inside of the organization, and don't be afraid to pay somebody or invest in somebody, because this is what I see not work out as well is, hey, go get your license and come back to me. Again, like, not a bad school of thought that worked in the past, but in this job market, when the average American doesn't have more than $1,000 in their checking account for an emergency, they're in the need for a job. And now all of a sudden you just painted a picture that you're not going to get a paycheck for a month and a half, potentially 2 months, depending on when you pass, depending on when you start, depending on when that first check comes in after you start. Most people in America are not in that position, and you're going to lose good people because of that.
Yeah.
I get the logic behind it too. The logic is, well, I got burned before and I paid somebody for 60, 90 days. It was a $10,000 investment. Well, I lost them. Well, there's a solution in the middle. The solution in the middle that we recommend, bring them in, have them on a tight guideline. And this is why we came up with a lot of our packages. We'll do promotions, and we'll include this with our pricing our licensing boot camp. And basically it includes all the licensing material. Standalone, it's only $4.95, so it's cheaper than most education courses that are out there. But the way we designed it is we aim to design it to solve the problem that really got in the way, which was lack of work, lack of putting the work in the study, lack of accountability. And really it comes down to is the agency owner doesn't have time to micromanage the people, see how you're studying, make sure they're studying the right way to learn and putting the right hours in. So what we do in our boot camp is, bring them in, put them in there. It's a 14-day boot camp. We start them in the morning. We set expectations of what they're going to study for the next 3 hours, check in with them midday, follow up on the progress, give them their next round of homework for the rest of the day, follow up on the progress, give them homework that night they have to do by the end of the day. And we send a PDF flyer out to every single agent that we work with on the progress of their exact person of where they're at. And we even do incentives in there too. So, if they are top passing their class and they graduate, they can get a bonus or gift card for being number one in their class, number 1 and 2 in their class. So we create the structure, the accountability, because it really shouldn't take more than 2 weeks to get it done. And more times than not, they get it done in 2 weeks just because they're following the program, they're putting the work in, they're being held accountable to it, they're being micromanaged to it, which they need during this process because not everybody's good at studying. And because they're not good at it, they dislike it. And what do we do when we dislike things? They're uncomfortable. We shift away from them. We procrastinate, and then we don't put the work in that we need to do to get it done. And that's why it takes 60 to 90 days to pass something that should take 14.
Right.
So invest in somebody, tell them, I'll pay you when you come on, but you got 3 weeks max to pass this thing. Otherwise, you're on straight commission then. There's no reason you shouldn't pass it in there. I'm giving you ample time frame. But then mitigate your investment, and then even put them on a probationary period too. Say, hey, if this doesn't work out in 60 days, you're not a fit for our culture, we'll cut this off. And you can really, at any given point in time, again, that goes into the fire fast solution. Person comes in, they got call reluctance, they're not doing what they want to do, they're not fitting in your culture. Pull the cord fast before you go deep into the rabbit hole with them and get the right person inside of your organization. But that's what we're seeing you have to do in this type of job market is move quick, get them in there quick. And that way you're not missing out on great talent, maybe to a competitor or organization out there.
Yeah. I mean, if they're getting interviewed by you, then they're getting interviewed by multiple, and you being the agent, they're getting interviewed by other people too, because they look good. And I mean, I can say from my experience, and we've been using you for a long time, consistently, just keep going. Anybody that we've brought on has been because of your organization. So, and we've done great. We've been, averaging over 200K a month. So really lighting it up with the right people. You get the right butts in the seats, it pays for itself all day long.
Yeah. And if you want to, hire 2 people. If you need one person, hire 2.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I'll tell people, I'll be transparent. We're not, at the same time, while we got a great process, we got over 600 video testimonials from agents, we get great results. We're also not a magic bullet that's just going to solve the problem. You got to have the fundamentals in place, and we'll tell people when they work with us, if you're not paying the right thing, the culture is maybe not where it needs to be yet. The basic fundamentals we know that's going to make this process fail, we'll just outright tell them, if you're not in a place to change these now, I'd rather do business later, because my job is not to take your money. My goal is not to just get my next sale. But there's nobody that we want to work with that we don't make a raving fan. And that's why, we really don't spend any money on marketing. We spend all of our time, energy, and focus on the customer experience and setting the bar here and trying to over-deliver and truly be an extension of our brand. And because of that, we try to really protect that and build as many brand ambassadors and kind of raving fans of our service as possible. And it's done us well. And so we'll always protect that. We always do the right thing for our customer and make sure that, we're setting the bar here and always delivering up here. And because of that, our account managers are not allowed to close people out unless, they get a review, testimonial, or some type of feedback that's indicative of that person was a fan of our service. Yeah. And they felt that we went above and beyond the scope of duty.
It works. I love it. And I can tell you also from somebody who we make it, I used to have that mentality where, oh no, I don't want to make too many offers because then I'm going to have 10 people come in. And I can assure you that is not what happens, right? You make 3 offers, maybe you get one of them to show up because there's too many other things, right? Somebody else offers them a little bit more or something. So don't ever shoot yourself in the foot and be afraid to make too many offers. Worst case scenario, you have 2 employees instead of 1 and they're both good, right? I mean, that's what you want.
Absolutely.
So, well, Dave, this has been awesome. If somebody wants to dive in, check out Team Hired, learn some more, watch any of those testimonials, where would they go?
Yeah, I mean, they can really just go right to our website at teamhired.com. That's teamhired.com. You can email me, David Williams at teamhired.com. We got an interest form right on the website you can fill out, and we get to you right away. There's also a chat box on there, too, where we can start having dialogue right away for you to see if we're a fit and support your organization.
Love it. We just made 2 more offers today. So hopefully,
awesome.
Hopefully we get them because we're in growth mode. So that's where everybody should be. I mean, in this market, right? We need to grow. So.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, and really, when people are thinking about, when's the time to hire? Like, now's the time to hire, especially in the insurance industry. Like, everybody's ramping up. You got a new year starting. Like, it's going to take a good 60 days to get somebody in, get them up to speed. And if you want to hit the ground running in 2022, especially with what's at the line and what's at stake, like, now. And then once you do that, like, always be hiring. Like, always backfilling that next person. What I like to do, we'll go in there and backfill somebody so we're overstaffed a little bit with the right person. So if we're in a place that we end up maybe losing somebody unexpectedly, it's not creating this 3-month detriment to our business that we can't get out of there. Because I guarantee you do the math. Like, and everybody, a lot of times people say, well, I can't afford to overstaff. Well, you can't afford not to, because when you calculate in how much that person's going to generate for you, you might take a little upfront hit on the chin from them. You might be taking a $3,000 a month loss and deficit. But if they're the right person and that right person is producing, and let's say they're putting up $30,000 in premium that they're putting them up, and you got to pay that person $7,000 a month. Well, that $30,000, likely if it's like 70% auto, is really $50,000 in premium. And you're getting paid a good chunk of what you're paying that person. Yeah, you're still in the hole maybe of $2,000-$3,000. But what a lot of people don't think about is what is the lifetime value of the business that they're generating. Yeah. If you have a 90% retention, that's probably going to renew 8-9 more times that you have. And maybe that $5,000 in commissions you got, you're over the lifetime value of that customer is going to generate another 8 to 9 times. So that person just generated you $40,000 in lifetime value in commission that you are going to see one day. And, oh, by the way, that's going to help you get to your goals. That's going to make your life a lot less stressful. That's going to grow your book. That's going to get you to your bonus. So between all those different things, the person's going to net wash, and you're building a free book with the right person that you have there. And when you think about it that way, like, again, I get back to great people don't cost money.
Nope.
You got to pick
they don't. Great. Yeah, and you know what's remarkable? We can wrap it up with this. When I opened my my satellite one of my satellites, I staffed the whole thing using Team Hired, and I had basically the same team for over a year and a half. Same team, and which is in this world very rare that you keep people for that long.
Absolutely.
And then of course you get comfortable. So I wasn't doing all of the interviewing, and then I had two people taken. Like somebody recruited them away, which was painful, but I wasn't ready. And when you're not ready, then all of a sudden that costs you. So now I'm always hiring, which has been my mantra. I just got a little bit lazy.
One final to close out here, one final little guest.
Oh, look at that! How you doing? Can you say something?
This is JD.
Hey, JD.
Just turned 9 months old. So.
9 months. Hey, JD. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
He's like, what? I hear my... Welcome to the Insurance Dudes.
Yeah. You're on your first podcast. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. This is a good one to be on for your first one.
Yeah. First of many.
It's like having Jason on.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Dave, thank you so much. JD, thank you. Hey, Lauren, good to hear. I heard you over there. There we go. I see your hand. Hey.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll put the link up for Team Hired in the show notes, and hop over there. It's a really good thing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave. We'll see you.
All right.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.